I've covered the progress of Seanet periodically on this YouTube channel over the years, and I have to say I've found their growth to be fascinating on so many different levels. For those of you who don't already know, Seanet offer a structure that allows people to co-own a super yacht with all of the advantages that come from sharing the costs, but reducing and sometimes even eliminating some of the disadvantages. In an early video, I mentioned that I used to work for a company that tried to find a way to allow people to co-own a yacht, but we just found it too complicated. And I'm so impressed with the way that Seanet have overcome the contractual challenges associated with this. Now, I'll put a link to some of those older videos at the end of this video so that you can get some background. But today we're looking at the lessons that they've learned on a journey that's taken them from co-owning one 93-foot Benetti Delfino to a fleet of 5 yachts, with another one in construction. And what a fleet it is. 4 Benetti yachts and 1 Azimut Grande, all with active and busy schedules, all managed by Seanet and all kept in astonishingly pristine condition. But how have Seanet accomplished this challenging feat? I started by talking to the founder, Matty Zadnikar, to ask him that very question. Well, Matty, that's an incredible success story. Before we talk about the lessons that have been learned from the growth of the company, what do you attribute the success to?
There are multiple factors. What I would say, first of all, I would start with persistence and with patience. I think two values that I think is very important in life, not only in private life, but also in business life. So when I started this concept, we speak about September 2016, that's when we officially launched it. There was a lot of criticism, about the fact that this would work. Would people who are wealthy, who had the money to buy a yacht, would they really even consider the option of sharing a boat? So, and it has not been an easy journey. So I have to be very correct. It's correct that we now, after 5.5 years, that when we now look back, we have 6 boats in the fleet. So 5 effectively under management and 1 under construction that will come next year in the fleet. All boats of the Benetti brand. So we specialized in Benetti, in Azimut Benetti. There's 1 Azimut Grande, a part of our fleet. But it took us, let me say, the first 2.5 years was, it picked up very, very slowly. Very slowly. What we notice is that people very often made a comparison with, sharing, that's time sharing. We are definitely not a time sharing company. We are a company in which you share ownership. People get the title in a boat. So let me say patience and persistence was for us very important. A second thing, what I think that contributes to our success is that there have been in the past before us other initiatives in sharing. And I think those initiatives were mainly focused on short-term results. When I told you before, we are now 5.5 years and it takes a lot of patience. So you cannot step in co-owning with the idea, I'll make a quick buck and make quick money. It was a long journey and we invested in boats. So we effectively bought a boat and then went to the market and tried to sell shares of the boat. I don't have to tell you, as being a professional business, that owning a 30, a 35 meter or 40 meter yachts, what it costs on a yearly basis to simply keep it up. And then you have the yearly depreciation. So when I see to the cycle of selling all the shares in the boat, we can speak that in the beginning it was a cycle of 2 years. But during that 2 years, we, and mainly me as the entrepreneur behind the company, the investor, was taking care of the cost of the unsold shares. So you have the capital investment that you have to put on the table up front. I don't have to tell you that banks are not interested to finance, so it's all auto-financed. That's one thing, but also you have to take care of the depreciation and of the running costs of the boat. And that you need financial oxygen to do so. I think that was a second point. Being able, being willing, being passionate enough and being a believer enough of the concept that it will work in the long term and put the financial means on the table. Second point. The third point is that I don't approach people, in the meantime we have an organization with a sales and with a marketing, so like any company, any professional company has, but when people are really interested, they are confronted with me. Yeah? And I approach people not as being a broker. I don't see us as being brokerage. We are a company, we are a service company. We service our people, and I speak with them from an owner's perspective. So in the majority of boats, I have been in the beginning, I've been simply the financial partner because I was a co-shareholder during the time that that 1.5, 2 years that the shares were not sold. I simply co-owned the boat, and I speak on the same level as an entrepreneur, as a passionate yacht owner. I speak to them, and I think that those three factors made a big difference and are still making a difference today. It creates a lot of credibility.
So Seanet are the first company to have successfully had co-ownership structures of super yachts. It must have been a learning curve. So what are the lessons that you've learned in that process?
Oh, we have learned multiple lessons. It's building something to let me say a successful concept is it's stepping up, it's falling down, it's stepping up, it's improving. It's a continuous improvement process, but in a very positive way. So first of all, what we noticed is that we have different schemes of co-ownership. That means you can own 2 times 50%, 3 times 33%, 4 times 25%, 5 times 20%, to a max of 6 times 66%, so 1/6 of the boat. And we have a 35 meter in the scheme of a 1/6 ownership each. Yeah? And what we notice, it's doable. We are doing it. And I must say that for the majority of our owners, it's a very, very nice configuration, because you lower the cost. The lower the part of the share that you take, the less money that you have to put upfront on the table to buy it, but also to maintain it. But from the other side, you have to be willing to accept that your flexibility with 6 partners is more limited than when you have a flexibility with 3 or 4 partners. So what I learned now is that I have to take the decision in favor of people who will become future owners, and we reduce. So now our standard offering is not going further than 4 owners.
Okay, so
4 times 25%.
is the sweet spot.
That's the sweet spot from a financial perspective. It's still very attractive financially. You pay 1/4 of the purchase price. You pay 1/4 of the running cost and the management fee. That's still, but you get more flexibility. You get also more time. Yeah, but mainly the flexibility part is the most important one. So that's from a time perspective. A second thing is what we learned is that in the beginning it was only focused on the mat, yeah, and the mat being from the Balearics, Italy, France, up to Greece, Turkey, Greece, but also Croatia, Montenegro, and we notice after 1-2 years people like it, but people that choose for co-ownership are people who want to optimize their investment. You want to get the maximum out of it. Yeah, you use each day. So that's very surprising. There's not one day that the boat or that co-owners are not using their boat. It can be that maybe their wife with friends, or they themselves, or a brother or a sister, but the boats are always used. So there's not one day left over. So there very quickly I saw that it was a shame that we are not using the boat in 2 seasons. So now, let me say, in the past 2-3 years, mainly 2.5 years, we swapped to a double seasonal use. So that means that boats are used from the beginning of May until the middle of October in Europe, in the Met. We move around. Each year we have different itineraries that we do. But in the winter time we go to the Caribbean, or we go to the Bahamas, and we even planning with owners with some of the boats to go to Asia. So we have a double scheme, so there you optimize the use of boat. So people get more usage out of a boat. And being, let me say, 2 weeks in the winter in the Bahamas and the Caribbean or in Asia is a very nice idea, and you get more out of your boat. I think that's also something that we learned. I must say what worked well, that is simply a confirmation. So everybody from day one, also there we were completely atypical for the market in our size. So we are on the 30 to 50 meter size, but we have from day one been full rotational for crew. So all our crew on the rotational scheme, and this is really confirmed to be the model to work in. Yeah, so the people are very happy in that. What I must say is that also that's maybe when it comes up to crew and experience is that when you have 6 owners on the boat, yeah, it's very tough for a crew. Oh, yeah. That's also one of the reasons that I brought it back to 4, because the work remains the same, but you continuously have to adapt to, let me say, the spirits, yes, or the experience that each family has a different DNA. And you have continues to adapt. Each 14 days, when somebody comes on board, you have then the changeover during 2 days. Another family comes and you have to readapt to a different mentality, a different demand, a different type of owner. And it takes a lot of crew. So also there we said, no, we limit it to 4, what is perfectly feasible. So that are a little bit, in general, the lessons that we learned.
And with regard to people's requests for yachts, have you ever come across people who love the idea, but just not necessarily with the yachts that you have?
No, I think also that's also a lesson learned. So I started with the business as being myself a passionate Benetti yacht owner. I love the brand, but I respect a lot of other brands. But let me say, there are people who love Ferrari, there are people who love Porsches. Both are great cars, yes. But everybody has his personal taste. So I was a Benetti, and I built our success based on Benetti yachts. With the big advantage that you get, we become more and more Benetti specialists. Yes. We will have now more 6 boats in the fleet. Between 29 and 40 meter. Believe me, we spend a lot of time in the shipyard. We know their warranty, so we know their management, their project management. It creates a certain bond with a company. We are not owned by Benetti. There is no financial interaction, but there's a very good cooperation between it as a qualified brand. But what I notice is that just like I mentioned, the Porsche and the Ferrari, there are people who say, Matty, very nice, but I like another brand. That we are now also going broader than only Benetti, but that from a different concept, the matchmaking concept. That we say, okay, we also want to tease those owners who are interested in something else than a Benetti, yes. Or an Azimuth.
What about Gianni, your operations manager? I remember he's a great character. Is he still with the company?
Yeah. Also, there is a change. So you'll remember good to the points out of the past of our discussion that we had already in the past. So when I set up operations as a management function in the company, it was very much linked to who I am as a person. I'm an engineer as my background. I'm very technical. I'm a passionate navigator, so I have myself the Master 500 gross tonnage. So for me, the focus of a boat was having the boat technically in a top shape continuously. Yes. So that means even when it is, we have our oldest boat in the fleet is now 8 years. Yeah, that was my initial first boat with which I started the idea simply, let's try it, if it would work. When you would step on board, you would think it's a brand new boat. Yes. So that's why because I'm very technical focused. Out of that technical focus, navigational focus, I said, okay, let us set up operations. Yeah, an operations manager who manages the captains and the boats. The captain still remains responsible for his yacht, but I have one guy on top who will make sure that the technical standards of maintenance, of the upkeep of the boat on the top side. Something what was underestimated, there's also a learning curve, was that very quickly when people step on board with us, they get used and they see it as a standard that in Seanet a boat is in a top condition, technically, and they are navigating in a safe way. So people are thinking about it, and something what was lacking was the experience side. Right. So the owner's experience side. So what we now did, we separated in the company the operations part. We're still taking care, that's Johnny's job, of the, let me say, the technical maintenance, the management of the captains, the engineers, the deckhands. Yeah, from one side, and this navigational safety, that's one side, but everything connected to interior, so the stewardesses, chief stewardesses, but also the kitchen, so people who are in direct contact with the owners is now coming under the hospitality management role. So we implemented an hospitality management role. Yeah.
Do you find that you get a turnover of clients with people leaving, more people coming in, or is it a fairly stable business?
Yeah. Of what we are very, very proud, and me in person also, because I'm the one who started the entire concept, is that up to now, nobody stepped out of the ownership structure. So that means in 5.5 years, everybody who joined us, remained with us. And we do very often after each season, we do inquiries, and there are still optimization points, and mainly on the experience side. So there we have an urge to improve that fact that people want to do different stuff. People, when you once 1 year, 2 years, 3 years have been on board, you get used to certain standards. Then the standards has continuously to move. That's one thing. When I now look what happened with us in the company, we have done in the past 5.5 years, we've done 20 deals, 20 share deals. Yeah, I only have 15 partners. So that means 5 of them, they are recurring deals. Yeah? So that means what we already had is we have 2 movements. You have a vertical movement where you move up. That means somebody, 2 of my owners, my first partners of day one, from the Benetti Delfino 93, so the older version of the 95, 93, they moved up to a Benetti Mediterraneo. So this was a move up vertically. You went simply 116
yeah.
foot. So from a 28.5 meter boat to a 35.3 meter boat. So it's a significant step. And some of them are even now thinking about moving up to a new boat that we will get in the fleet that I have not yet spoken with you, but we will have next year a Benetti Oasis in the fleet. Yeah? So that's what I call vertically moving. Yeah? But we also have people that said, damn, this is a chance for me. I love my boat, yeah? And I want to buy more shares in the same boat, simply that I get more time. I can spend more time. People between the moment that they join and the moment of 2-3 years later, some people have sold their business, got in retirement, and people simply want to enjoy more the boat. So we have both movements. And now I have people on the 35 meter who are definitely interested to go on the 40 meter. And I even have interest for 50 and a 55 meter boat. So we have future plans also to go in that direction.
So when they started with one yacht, I can imagine that you could pretty much cope with the company almost as a one-man band. But now you have 5 yachts, one in construction. What does the company look like with that many yachts to manage?
We definitely grew and we professionalized a lot in different fields. So when I look back in the time over the past 5.5 years, the first thing where we implemented a solid full-time function was operations. So we implemented an operations manager, Johnny, who was before my master captain with a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience also in charter with clients handling, but also from a technical perspective, and a very good leader. And that really worked well. So he's really focused very much on the recruitment of the qualified crew, yeah, but also on keeping the boats in the highest standards. But when you then grow to a second boat, to a third boat, the financial part, that means the accountants see, but also the entire reporting becomes a very important point. Handling one boat and a budget, with a budget into 500 to 1 million, depending on how you use the boat, and then getting a second boat. So there are millions running in the company. We have a very strict reporting system, yeah, that we automated a lot, yeah, and we have a back office implement. So we have a full-time back office. We have in the meantime also an accountancy almost on a full-time basis working for us in our headquarters in Malta. So there was more from a financial perspective. In the beginning, all the marketing, the ideas came from me. I worked with external companies, but I very quickly saw I want to have marketing also as part of our organization. So we have a dedicated person, Cindy, who is doing the marketing for us as a company. So as we got more boats, more people involved, and more financials, more structure, there was also the demand to automate the follow-up of boats. So that means we implemented also a system for accountancy, but also a system for the management of the boat. So all the maintenance of boats is handled by a software system that we standardize within the company on each boat. All the financials we implemented, for example, the Revolut cards, so that people simply a captain picturize his photo and he links it to a category and it comes automatically in our accountancy, so that you almost have live online, you can follow up all the costs of a boat. Yeah? And due to the size of it, and also the fact that I'm feeling old, but I'm 60 years, and I don't want to be the spider in the net of everything. I still am the visionary. I'm leading the company. I'm very much involved, but I also took a right hand, a COO, Leon, that you also interviewed last time, who takes care of, let me say, the further professionalization of the organization. And now the last step that we have now done recently is an hospitality manager. Yeah, and I already want to give you a peep in the future. When we proceed now, in the sense that we get 2 to 3 boats on a yearly base within the fleet, okay, we acquire boats or we go in new build construction. Definitely one of the functions as a surveyor, somebody who takes care of the build process, or something else than operations, will also become part of our organization. So I want to have the full scope of competence like any other professional company in the business.
Before joining Seanet 2 years ago as chief stewardess on board of one of our yachts in the fleet, I've worked on numerous yachts, different sizes, from 30 meter to 140 meters, on several positions, where I fine-tuned my skills and knowledge about the yachting industry and in general all the interior tasks. But before joining this industry, I've worked on other management positions where I managed the teams of 50 plus people.
50 plus people,
Yeah.
on a yacht?
Not on the yacht. It was related with the sailing yachts, but it was related with tourism.
And what What's involved in the role? I imagine that owners are going to be calling you for flight reservations, restaurant reservations. Is that the kind of thing that you're involved with?
That is only one of the aspects that I'm involved with. We are now building a whole new relationship with our owners that we have in Seanet company. Before, the communication was done between the captains and our management, Matty and Leon, whereas now I'm more focused in details to plan their trips, to make it tailor-made for their needs and preferences, from itinerary proposals, activity guides and recommendations on restaurants, bars, cultural or gastronomical sightseeing that they could do around the locations where the boat is at that moment. Along with that, we are discussing and planning for the future seasons and boats in general. What can we do as a company to make their stay on board even better, or for service-wise? So the aspect is just getting bigger and bigger from what my position could bring to the owners or the charter guests that we have in the company.
How many crew do you have now in Seanet?
At the moment, we have 45 people working full year, and in the next year we are going to have extra 18, so it's going to be 60 plus people until the end of 2023.
And for your job, what involvement do you have with the hiring of new people, the training of new people?
So it all starts with recruitment of posting a job application, going through all the applicants, doing the interviews, picking up the top candidates, where then Johnny, my colleague, and the captain we are looking the team for are doing the final stage interviews, and then we proceed with the next step, which would be the training of informing them about the standards of the company, in general of the rules of the boat, informing them about the owners that they will be working with, and then from that step on, we continue our communication as each owner is coming prior to their trip to prepare everything as they need, request, or not even expected.
And Matty actually was talking about how it's always been important to have a very high standard of the technical side of the yacht, that everything's working as it should be. And now, of course, you're making sure that there's an equally high standard for the service side and the hospitality side. So are you sending your crew to special courses to learn about what they need to be doing? How does that work?
Well, we are doing the courses, the trainings in-house, internal. Our plan is in the next couple of years to have a personal Seanet Academy where we will train personnel, not just for our needs, but for whoever wants to have a solid start to this industry with all the basic knowledge to enter and be a good candidate for any other boat as well, but of course primarily for our needs. At the moment, I'm doing individual trainings with each new crew member that comes for interior department. As well, I've created throughout this last couple of years, let's call it a Seanet Bible, with some daily rundowns of boss off, boss on period, as well with the fine details of housekeeping. It comes from explaining the smallest parts, how to handle the equipment on board, how to secure the place, how to secure yourself when using certain chemicals to treat certain materials inside of the interior, and then going in details about service, from different varieties of styles, setting up the tables, as well a little bit about the cocktails, the barista, cigars, or whatever that could implement them and reach their service abilities to perform for our owners.
Do you think the people who are joining the industry as crew, do you think they know, like we were saying earlier, people arrive and there's this euphoria, or I'm on a yacht, I'm in Croatia, I'm in Monaco, and then the adrenaline level goes down because there's the reality of the hard work that needs to be done. Do you think people are ready for that, most candidates?
I don't think this job is for everyone, and that's why I think it's very important to be transparent when we're talking about the job and the duties. One of the biggest assets of Seanet company is that they recognize the hard work that crew does on the yacht, and due to that reason and the reason of 2 seasons per yacht, we have back-to-back rotation from the most junior position to the senior position, which is nothing to compare with any other company in this industry. And it just says that it is important to know that while you're on boat, you need to be 100% present and dedicated to perform your job at the best possible way, and then you have the earned holiday that you really need and require. Because these days it's very popular to see young ladies or gentlemen working on a yacht from all over the world, thinking that they have a one life opportunity to travel for free and get paid to do a little bit of washing here and there, where there's actually a full-on dedication, and it's for someone who wants to be part of hospitality and service for other people.
So I think it's worth mentioning as well that you, of course, you're a stewardess, a chief stewardess, then chief stewardess working in the Seanet fleet. So you haven't come from outside immediately to hospitality manager. Is that a common thing within Seanet, or do Seanet tend to outsource people from outside to bring them into the company?
So the company's core idea is to first look at the crew that we have, and whoever has the biggest potential and has showed the initiative to grow inside of the company has the opportunity to prove themselves and step up to a senior position. And I think that is as well one of the main pushes for the crew that is working for this company, to understand that they're not taken so easily and not looked at, you can be replaced any second. So it is important for us to have people that are loyal, that are initiative, that want to grow personally but inside of the company as well. And I think it is important for a crew member to work for a company that you know has your back, is not going to replace you for the first hiccup that comes. As you know, now in the world situation, in the yachting, there's a lot of changes, and with the COVID that's happened, there was a lot of people let go from their positions, whereas here we kept people and we hired even more, and we promoted the ones that needed the promotion. So I think that in general, it is the overview of this whole company is a mutual growth.
Well, I can see that you have a lot of contact with the crew. Do you have very much contact with the co-owners as well?
With the co-owners, absolutely. I'm the link between the crew and the co-owners now, and the management. So my relationship with the owners is just now growing even more. For some of them it's easier because they know me from my chief stew position. Whereas for some, we are just now meeting each other, and they're trying to give me their details on preferences, on how their usual daily schedule goes. And as well, they are trying to give me a feedback on the crew. But as well, I'm getting the feedback from the crew or comments they want me to get from the owners. So I am literally a scale between them.
How do you go about doing that? Because I know I sometimes get emails asking me for feedback, and if I'm really honest, I just couldn't be bothered to reply to the email. So how do you go about getting honest feedback from the owners?
First of all, we start the communication through the email, but I like to do all the communication face-to-face. Of course, it is not possible to do it with every owner because they're in different locations. So we do either a video call or a phone call where we discuss certain topics. Of course, if it's something very serious and that requires a certain amount of time to go through their preferences and cover certain topics that are serious, then we do it through a video call through Zoom or Teams or Skype, any platform that is available now. And I think it helps them to be open about it, to be honest about it. And I always push people to say it. That's something that I was doing even before. If there's something that you're maybe not happy about it, or you would like it in a different way, or you have an idea or proposal, I always ask people to be open about it, because I cannot read their minds. And if there is something that they would like to try something different, rather to say it than not, because this way we can start doing actions on what needs to be done.
And I guess for you, the negative feedback is more useful than the positive feedback, because it was great, everything's perfect, is not all that helpful, is
Yes.
it? But if they give you directions on something that could be a bit better, that's great.
Absolutely. I don't consider it as a negative comment. That's the thing. I just take it in as a constructive comment. Because it is, I think it is important for them to feel comfortable to speak up if there is anything that they think could be improved, as well as from the crew side, if they think that there is something that it could be communicated with the owners regarding the boats. I think it's very important as well for them to feel safe and comfortable to say it, because there is a way to communicate everything.
So the fleet's growing.
Yep.
A new yacht arrives in the fleet. What does that mean for you?
It means a lot of work, but it's exciting. It's very exciting. So one of my duties as well, along the communication with the owners, with the crew, is as well setting up the new yachts. Of course, it's going to be something parallelly with the new crew members that we will recruit or promote from the previous yachts in our fleet. But one of my roles is to step on the boat and set it up from the basics, from the scratch, from tableware, cutlery, flatware, in general all sides for the housekeeping, from laundry, linen for the guests, uniform setup, decorations, materials, whatever it needs to be done for boat to be fully set up.
And when the yacht's in construction, do you get involved even before delivery with that kind of thing?
That is something that it's going to be my first time to be involved in the project, not in that detail, because of course the architects are the one who are doing everything, but of course my comments regarding the storages and certain functionalities of the furniture are definitely going to be taken and considered for the final touch-ups.
I wanted to ask you as well, because I know quite a few crew who work on charter, and I'm surprised how often they make the comment that guests sometimes come on board and they just don't know what to do with themselves. Do you find that with some of the owners as well? Do they need a bit of direction on how to enjoy themselves on the yacht?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are people who know how to switch off from their everyday job and responsibilities and duties and just relax, and then there are people who really do not know how to just relax and take it easy and enjoy. So our duties as interior personnel is to find a way how to make their stay as pleasant as possible. We sometimes organize different theme parties for them even without their knowing. So we organize a casino dinner that could be rounded up with some nice cocktails that are themed, and that way we just make it a nice fun dinner with a private casino or something like that. Or we have an anniversary, or we have a Halloween or some holiday that is very big and important, then we try to make a private party for them.
Somebody who is watching the video and they want to become crew on a yacht, how would you advise them to go about doing that? What advice would you give to them?
So for someone who wants to join this industry, I would advise them to look into everything they need for a job role to join this industry, to understand if they have the abilities and skills to get that position that they're interested, and then just to be persistent, because it doesn't come overnight, it takes time, but if you want to do it, you are able to learn whatever. And with the guidance, I don't think it's any problem.
And what's the best part of your job?
It's very hard to be specific and point out only one thing. I really love it because it's versatile, I have ability to still be in contact with the crew. I'm coming from the crew background, so I like to stay in touch with the crew. I'm having now an opportunity to discuss with the owners a little bit more in detail, so I love that as well. I am moving around, visiting the boats. I have the ability to build something from the scratch, to have the standard of the company implemented. I think in general it's just the fact that it's so open for growth, because I'm sure that in next 2 years from now we're going to have even more options with this position that I'm doing now.
Raf, it's good to see you again. I was speaking to Matty earlier and he spoke about a matchmaking service. Now, when I think of matchmaking, yachts are the last thing that come to mind. So how does Yachts work with matchmaking?
As Matty mentioned to you earlier, we have seen that the Seanet company has grown. And besides the yacht sales, the yacht co-ownership and the yacht management, the fastest growing division within the Seanet company is yacht matchmaking. And it means literally matchmaking. We bring current yacht owners together with like-minded individuals or families looking for a specific yacht in a specific area. And we have 3 streams of people coming to us currently. So on the one hand, we have a yacht owner that is an experienced owner or is planning a new build and say, okay, I'm keen to have a solid partner to enter with me into this project or into my yacht. On the second hand, we have families or individuals looking for a specific yacht and would like to enter in a yacht with a co-owner. To give you an example, we have families looking now for a large catamaran, type like a Sunreef, or a large explorer type vessel like a CDM. Also there we can then match them together. And thirdly, we have brokers coming to us asking, say, hey guys, we have a yacht in our fleet where the owner is not really sure if he wants to sell, yes or no. Could you find us a solid partner to enter with him?
So your client base, is that people who just don't have the money for a whole yacht, but they can afford a quarter of a yacht?
The majority, I would say, all of the people have the financial means to buy a yacht outright in the 10, 15, 20, 25 million plus. But once they consider the expenditure, the cash out, together with the yearly running cost, then it becomes a balance of saying, I'm only using it 4 to 5 weeks a year. Is there another solution? And that's where we come in with the matchmaking. We say, okay, how would you feel if we bring you a partner which is like-minded, with a solid background, that brings and takes out 50% of the yacht, not on the cash out at the beginning, but also in the yearly running cost. And that works pretty well.
So do you not find that owners are skeptical about taking on a stranger as being a part owner of their yacht?
Yes, it's one of their first questions, and also the reason why they get in touch with Seanet. So not only have we plenty of experience over the last 5.5 years with the co-ownership structure, but also we deal individually with the co-owners. Meaning, if a yacht owner currently says, okay, Raf, I'm happy if you would find me a 50% partner for my yacht, then it's our duty to find that 50% family or individual keen to join. Strong due diligence from our side to see who are his family, what do they like, where they come from. And once they enter in a contract with Seanet and the partner for the yacht, it's our duty to communicate and structure everything. So the owner, it should be the least of his concerns and worry, because that's the reason he comes to us.
So you said to me that one stream of interest is people who are looking to buy a yacht, but they don't want to commit the finances to buying an entire yacht. You also mentioned that another stream is people who want to sell their yachts, but they'd be happier to just sell a share in the yacht. But then you said that there's also interest from brokerages, and as somebody with a background in brokerage, I'm curious to know why brokers are interested in the service.
We see over the last period of time a serious increase from inquiries from brokers. Not only have they recognized the offering that we have on the table, but they were looking at their own portfolio of yachts. And in there are multiple owners who are happy with their yacht. They love their yacht, they still want to keep using it, but they cannot justify having this 30, 40, 50 meter yacht and just using it a couple of weeks a year. So option A is we sell it, and then the owner will be unhappy because he lost his boat. Yeah. But now owners have another opportunity. The broker can contact us and say, hey, Seanet, would you like to find, or would you be able to find a 30% or 50% buyer for my owner's yacht? And in that way, we make two people happy, yeah, the new owner and the current owner of the yacht.
So do all of the owners know each other on each yacht?
No, on the contrary. It's our responsibility to find the right individual, the right family to match with the current owner. It's Seanet's duty and responsibility to make sure that the communication between the owners goes via us. All issues, all reservations, all documents, all contracts, we handle it to make sure that there is no headaches in the owner's side. Owners do not talk to each other, do not have any contact with each other. They want to make sure that there is an independent, objective third party involved to make sure there is a solid and rigid system behind it. And hence they come to Seanet.
I have to be honest, I find the business of yachting even more interesting than the yachts themselves. I always have. And the business of Seanet is particularly fascinating because we have a yacht owner who has created a service that he wished already existed. My takeaway from this is that Matty said he's not in this to make a quick buck. He's in this to make a service that is genuinely useful to yacht owners, and in doing so, he's creating real lasting value for the business itself. So brick by brick, person by person, he's creating a team that is actually quite unique in the yachting industry. Added to that, the matchmaking service. I know people who can easily afford to run their yachts, but they can't justify the expense when they only use the yacht for 3 or 4 weeks of the year. Now, previously there was really only 2 options for those people. Either they put the yacht on the charter market or they sell it. Well, now there's a third option. They can allow Seanet to use their matchmaking service to find the perfect person to share the costs with them. It's quite brilliant. What about people though who want to become a co-owner along with Seanet? Well, I can do no better than leaving the final words to Matty, who answered that question.
At this moment, we have 2 opportunities. Yeah? First of all, I told you that we will have next year, we will have an Oasis in the fleet. By next year summer, we will have a brand new Oasis.
So that's 40 meters.
That's a 40-meter boat, very highly spec with almost 5 million of options in the boat. So whatever you can imagine will be in that boat. We will be also part of the, let me say, the build supervision, so that we make sure that the boat really fits within our way of maintaining it and using the boat towards our owners. So that's that there we will have shares available. Yeah, so that's one opportunity, and because I already know that some of the people of the 35 meter are interested in the 40 meter, there will become shares available in the 35 meter. What is our Benetti Mediterraneo? Yeah, that will open up for shareholdership. And we still have at this moment, we still have 1 share available in our 95, the brand new one. What came in our fleet last summer, yeah, but it's brand new. Even during the winter, we upgraded it on different fields. So we have 3 opportunities. In the Delfino, we have a share available. In the Benetti Mediterraneo after this season, and for next year we will have the Oasis. That are the 3 opportunities that we have at the moment.